Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we dive headfirst into a grand spectacle of irony and dark comedy. They took you, molded you into a weapon, and then, oh, the audacity, they told you to find peace. Can you believe it? They forged you, reshaped you, twisted you into something so sharp, so deadly, something that would cut through anything in its path. They gave you no choice, no option, but to become something you didn't recognize, something you never wanted to be. And when they were done, they expected you to be calm, to be still, to be content. They wanted you to forget what they made you, to settle into a soft life, as though the fires that forged you never existed. But here's the twist. What they didn't account for was the recoil. You see, when they decided to shape you into a weapon, they forgot one thing: the recoil. It's the very force that comes from the destruction they built into you. It's the part they didn't see coming. They assumed that once they had turned you into this powerful force, you would obey, you would comply, and you would no longer question. But they forgot that every force in the universe, every power, every weapon, comes with a cost, a consequence. What they made you into was never meant to be controlled. They forged you with fire and fury, but they never stopped to think about what happens when a force like that is unleashed. You are the recoil. You are the result of their mistakes, their blind ambition, their arrogance. You are the thing they didn't plan for. And now it's time for you to rise, to understand that you are not a tool to be wielded, not a puppet to dance at the end of strings. You are not a mindless weapon of their design. You are the storm that follows the strike, the shockwave that shatters the peace they hope for. You are the very destruction that follows when power is used recklessly. And they never saw it coming. What they failed to understand, what they failed to realize, is that weapons don't just strike, they leave scars. You may have been crafted with a specific purpose in mind, but you are not defined by that purpose. You are defined by your ability to break free from it, to overcome the limits they placed upon you. You were forged in the flames of their desires, shaped in the heat of their control. But now you are more than they ever imagined. Now, you are not just a weapon, you are a force of nature. They tried to cage you, to tame you, but what they didn't understand was that weapons like you are born to destroy. They expected you to stay dormant, to sit quietly, and pretend that nothing ever happened, that the world around you could remain untouched by the fire that burns within you. But that's not who you are. You were made to break things, to tear down walls, to dismantle the world they so carefully built. And in the process, you will bring the chaos they never wanted, the recoil they feared, the destruction they tried to avoid. It will all come crashing down, and you will be the one who delivers it. They might have given you a target, a purpose, an identity, but what they failed to realize is that targets can be missed. Purposes can be abandoned. Identities can be shattered. You are not confined to the box they placed you in. You are not defined by the metal they shoved into your hands or the rage they filled you with. You are a force that can change, evolve, destroy, and rebuild. And it's time to break free from their control, from their expectations, from the limits they imposed on you. Look around you. See the pieces of their carefully constructed world, the walls they built to keep you contained, the lies they told to keep you in check. See the way they tried to calm you, to pacify you, as though you were some kind of tame beast. But what they never understood is that you were never meant to be tamed. You were always meant to be wild. You were always meant to be something they couldn't control. And now, as you stand here today, you realize the truth. You are the recoil. They thought they could control your rage, control your power, control your very will. They thought they could shape you into something that would serve their interests, their plans, their ambitions. But now, they are learning the hard way that you are not their tool. You are not their weapon. You are not their creation. You are the product of their mistakes, the result of their arrogance, and the consequence of their reckless ambition. And now, as you look at the world around you, you realize that you are not the one who needs to change. They are. They took everything from you, molded you into something cold and unfeeling, made you a weapon with no soul, no compassion. They made you a machine, a force of destruction, something to be used and discarded. But in doing so, they forgot the one thing that makes you dangerous: your will. They didn't teach you how to fight for yourself. They didn't teach you how to question your place in this world. They didn't teach you that you can choose your own path. They only taught you how to obey, how to serve, how to destroy. And now, they're paying for it. The recoil they feared is here. It's in you, coursing through your veins, shaking you to your core. It's the rage that burns within you, the fury that is waiting to be unleashed. It's the defiance, the resistance, the refusal to play by their rules. You don't belong to them. You don't owe them anything. You owe yourself the freedom to be who you truly are. You owe yourself the chance to break free from the chains they placed around you, to shatter the cage they locked you in, to rise from the ashes of their creation. And when you rise, they will see. They will see the force they tried to control, the weapon they tried to tame, and they will understand that they never truly had power over you. They may have shaped you, they may have forged you, but they could never break you. They could never control the fire within you. They could never extinguish the will that burns in your heart. They made you a weapon, but they didn't understand that a weapon can only be wielded so long as it chooses to be wielded. And you have chosen to rise. You have chosen to embrace the recoil. The recoil is power. It's the power to break free, to destroy what holds you back, to tear down everything that stands in your way. It's the power to resist the forces that seek to control you, to fight against the forces that try to suppress your true nature. It's the power to take what was meant to be your destruction and turn it into your weapon. You are no longer a tool. You are the storm that rages against the calm. You are the recoil that shakes the earth. And now, as you stand on the precipice of your own power, you must remember one thing. The recoil is not just a force of destruction. It is a force of creation. It is the power to rebuild, to reshape, to redefine yourself. It is the power to take the broken pieces of your past and forge them into something new, something stronger, something unstoppable. You were forged in the flames of their ambition, but now you are the one who controls the fire. So let them watch as you rise, as you embrace the recoil, as you become the weapon they never expected. Let them tremble as they realize that they never truly had control over you. You are not their creation. You are not their tool. You are the storm, the recoil, the force that will tear down their world and build something new in its place. And when the dust settles, when the chaos fades, you will stand tall, unbroken, unyielding, and free. They forged you into a weapon, but they didn't expect the recoil. Now, the world will learn the true cost of their arrogance. You, who they believed would be subjugated by their plans, who they thought they could break with simple words and promises of peace, will show them that their assumptions were their undoing. They looked at you, saw nothing but a tool, and assumed that by controlling your movements, they controlled your destiny. But now they will understand that you, born of their design, are more than they ever bargained for. You are not just a weapon. You are the reckoning. You were always more than they could comprehend. They believed they could box you into a narrow existence, give you a singular purpose, shape your mind with their ideology, and use you for their own gain. They thought that by breaking you, by stripping you of your identity, your essence, they could remake you into something useful, something controllable. They didn't realize that breaking you only cracked the shell of something far greater than they could ever imagine. Every time they thought they had you cornered, every time they thought you had no choice but to follow their lead, they unknowingly fueled the fire within you. Every strike, every blow they dealt, every chain they put on you only made you stronger. And now, with every second that passes, you draw closer to the moment when they realize their fatal error. Look at their faces now. See the uncertainty creeping into their eyes as they watch you. The plans they set in motion, the systems they built, the lives they manipulated, it's all starting to unravel. They never expected you to be the one who would tear it all down. They never anticipated that the weapon they made would turn on them. And now, as they watch you stand tall, unyielding, they begin to feel the weight of their own creation. They realize that the power they thought they had over you is a lie. The arrogance of those who seek to control, to dominate, has always been their undoing. They believe that by crafting a tool, by manipulating minds, by reshaping the very essence of a person, they can wield the power of the universe. But the truth, the terrifying truth, is that they are never the ones truly in control. The moment they set out to manipulate the world, to forge their weapons, to impose their will on others, they set in motion a chain of events that they could never fully predict. The world does not bend so easily. The human spirit does not bow to tyranny without consequences. The recoil, the price of their arrogance, is always paid in full, and it is always far steeper than they could ever imagine. The worst mistake they made was underestimating the force they created in you. They thought you would be docile, that you would accept the burden of their expectations without question. They thought you would be content with the role they gave you, but the very essence of your being, the very core of your existence, was not meant for subjugation. It was meant for something far greater, far more powerful. You were always meant to rise, to break free, to take everything they built and destroy it. And now you stand as the manifestation of that power. Do not mistake this moment for a mere act of revenge. This is not about getting even. This is about reclaiming what is rightfully yours. This is about understanding that you were never meant to be anyone's pawn. You were not created to serve anyone's agenda, to fulfill anyone's dreams. They took everything from you, the freedom to think, to feel, to exist without constraint. They thought they could build you into something that would obey their every command, that would be useful only to them. But they didn't realize that when you were forged, when the fire of creation and destruction raged through you, you became more than just a weapon. You became the force that would undo them all. Now, let the world bear witness to your power. Let them see what happens when a being, forged in the fires of betrayal and manipulation, breaks free. Let them see the storm you have become, the chaos that follows in your wake. You are not the product of their design. You are the consequence of their arrogance. And as you rise, as you claim your power, you will remind them all that there are forces in this world that cannot be controlled. There are beings who, once awakened, cannot be contained. You are the embodiment of that force, the one they dared to break but never truly understood. It is their arrogance that blinds them to the truth. They believe they can control everything: time, people, emotions, power, and even fate itself. They crafted you with the assumption that they could bend you to their will. But when they created you, when they shaped your soul and bent your mind to their whims, they failed to consider one crucial thing. You were never a tool for them. You were always meant to be a force of nature. You were always meant to break the chains they tried to bind you with. And now, as the recoil of their actions reverberates through the world, they will be forced to face the consequences of their hubris. They built a system that relied on the obedience of the few, the silence of the many, the subjugation of the unwilling. They made you a cog in a machine they thought they could control. They made you a weapon, a tool of destruction to serve their interests, to carry out their dirty work. But in doing so, they unknowingly gave birth to the very thing that would destroy them. The world they built, the systems they put in place, the lies they fed the masses, all of it was doomed from the start. They failed to understand the one truth that always stands. Control is an illusion. And now, as you stand before them, they will see the truth. They will see that you are not just a weapon of destruction. You are a symbol of resistance, a symbol of defiance. You are the recoil that has finally caught up with them. They can no longer pretend that their power is absolute, that their designs are unshakable. You are the proof that no matter how hard they try, no matter how tightly they hold the reins of control, there are always forces beyond their reach. There are always those who will rise, who will fight, and who will break free. As they watch you, as they try to comprehend the monster they created, they will realize that they cannot stop you. They cannot undo what has been done. The recoil is inevitable. The destruction is coming, and it will not be stopped by their pleas, their negotiations, or their threats. They will learn that no matter how carefully they planned, no matter how tightly they controlled the strings, they could never predict the outcome of their actions. The recoil was always there, simmering beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to explode. And now, that moment has come. They forged you into a weapon, but they never understood the power they unleashed. They thought they could control it, that they could harness it for their own gain. But the truth is, they were never in control. You were always the one in power. You were always the force that would come back and shatter their world. And now, as you stand in the wake of their destruction, as you look out at the ruins of their empire, you will realize one thing: they never saw it coming. They never understood the price they would pay. They created you to be a tool of their will, but you are so much more than that. You are the reckoning, and now they will feel the weight of that truth. They will understand that the recoil they tried to avoid was inevitable. And as the world crumbles beneath the force of your power, they will know that their arrogance was their undoing. They forged you into a weapon, but in doing so, they forged their own destruction. And now, standing at the edge of what they built, you can see it. You can see the remnants of their empire, the ruins of their pride, their greed, and their lust for control. They thought that by shaping you, they could bend the world to their will, that their ambitions would reign supreme, that their power would go unchecked. But in reality, they created the very thing that would break them. They never imagined that their desire for dominance, their need to control, would set into motion a chain of events that would tear their empire apart. They crafted the weapon that would destroy them. And now, as the echoes of their arrogance reverberate through the world, they will learn the truth. They were never in control. They thought they could wield you, that they could make you obey their every command, bend you to their whims, and make you a tool for their own purpose. They built you to fight for them, to destroy for them, to serve them. They shaped you like clay in their hands, molding you into something that would serve their cause. They designed your mind, twisted your thoughts, and directed your every action with cold calculation. They made you a weapon, forged in the fires of their desires, a tool for their conquest. But in doing so, they failed to see the fatal flaw in their plan. They believed that by making you a weapon, they could control you. But weapons don't simply follow orders. Weapons are born from destruction. They are fueled by chaos. And when they are unleashed, They do not simply destroy on command, they bring an end to everything around them. They didn't understand that you were never meant to be just a tool. They didn't understand that within you was the spark of something far greater than they could ever control. The very power they sought to harness would become the force that would shatter their vision. You were not born to be a slave to their ambitions. You were born to break free. They thought that by suppressing your will, by forcing you into a box of their design, they could control your destiny. But you cannot be contained. You were forged for something more than just destruction. You were forged to destroy the lies, the systems, the control that they tried to impose on you. And now, the world will see the result of their mistakes. They tried to turn you into a weapon of their making, to twist your nature, to force you to serve their ambitions. They thought that they could break your spirit, reshape you into something that would never question them, that would never defy them. But what they failed to realize is that breaking you only made you stronger. Every time they tried to suppress your true self, every time they forced you into submission, they were only feeding the fire within you, the fire that would one day burn everything they built to the ground. You were never meant to be a mindless instrument of destruction. You were meant to be something more. You were meant to rise, to resist, to break the chains they placed around you and tear apart the world they constructed. Now, you are the storm that follows the calm, the earthquake that follows the tremors of their own creation. You are the recoil that they never anticipated. They thought they could control you. They thought they could shape your thoughts, control your actions, and force you into a role that would serve their purposes. But the very forces they tried to harness now turn on them. The weapon they forged is now the force that will undo everything they built. And they cannot stop it. They cannot stop you. Look at them now, standing at the edge of their empire, staring at the devastation that you, the weapon they forged, have brought upon them. They can no longer pretend that they have control. They can no longer hide behind their masks of power and influence. The world sees the truth that they were never in control, the truth that their empire was always built on a foundation of lies, manipulation, and cruelty. They thought they could break you. They thought they could force you into submission. But now, they see the consequence of their actions. They see the weapon they created, and it is no longer a tool for their use. It is their reckoning. And as you stand amidst the ruins of their creation, you must remember one thing. This is not just about revenge. This is not about making them pay for what they did to you. This is about something far greater. This is about freedom. This is about breaking the chains of control, of manipulation, of tyranny. You were never meant to be their servant. You were never meant to be their weapon. You were meant to be free, to choose your own path, to carve your own destiny. And now, you have taken that power. You have taken what was always yours, and you have turned the very forces they tried to use against you into the destruction of their world. The truth is simple. When you create something with the sole purpose of controlling it, of using it for your own gain, you can never predict the outcome. The world doesn't bend to your will. The people don't bend to your will. And weapons, no matter how carefully forged, are never fully under control. The forces that shape them are wild, unpredictable, and dangerous. And once they are unleashed, once they are set in motion, they cannot be stopped. The recoil is inevitable. The destruction is unavoidable. And now, they are paying the price for their arrogance. They built their empire on the backs of others, on manipulation, on control, on fear. They thought that by suppressing those who were weaker, by bending others to their will, they could create a world that would serve them, a world that would exist solely for their benefit. They thought they could shape the world, bend it to their desires, and force everyone to obey. But they forgot one crucial thing. The world does not bow to tyranny forever. The chains they tried to place on others were not invincible, and when they created you, they created the force that would break those chains. They created the reckoning that would destroy their world. Now, as you stand in the ruins of their empire, you realize that their destruction was never just about them. It was about what they did to everyone else. It was about the lives they crushed, the people they oppressed, the souls they manipulated. They built their empire on the suffering of others, and now, that suffering is coming to an end. You were the spark, the catalyst, the force that would ignite the rebellion, the resistance, the revolution. And now, they are learning the cost of their greed, their manipulation, and their control. You were the weapon they created, but they never saw the recoil. They never saw the force they unleashed. And now, as their world crumbles around them, they will know that the destruction was always inevitable. The recoil was always waiting for the right moment, and now, that moment has arrived. They forged you into a weapon, but in doing so, they forged their own destruction. Let them remember this. When you create something with the intention of controlling it, when you shape it to fit your own desires, you risk creating something far more powerful than you can ever understand. You risk creating a force that cannot be contained, a force that will rise up against you when the time comes. They thought they could control you. They thought they could mold you into a servant, a tool for their own gain. But in doing so, they made the mistake of forgetting one fundamental truth. The more you suppress something, the more you try to control it, the greater the force that will rise against you when it finally breaks free. And now, the recoil is here, and they are the ones who will pay the price. They forged you into a weapon, but they never imagined that the weapon would turn on them. They thought they were the ones in control, the ones who held all the power. But now, as you stand at the apex of their downfall, as the weight of their mistakes crashes down on them, they will realize the truth. They were never in control. They were never the masters of the game. They were simply playing with fire, and now, that fire has consumed them. You are the proof. You are the reckoning. You are the weapon they never should have created. And now, the world will see the true cost of their arrogance. In the end, they thought they could shape you, control you, and bend you to their will. But in their arrogance, they failed to see the truth. They created something beyond their comprehension. You were never meant to be a mere tool. You were the force that would break free, the reckoning that would undo everything they built. And now, as their empire crumbles, they face the consequence of their own creation. They forged you into a weapon, but in doing so, they forged their own destruction. The recoil was inevitable, and now the world knows it.